Today's episode is brought to you by Patreon. If you're interested in supporting the show, go to patreon.com/JoshuaVelas and become a $2 backer today and get early access to the new episodes. I'll be leaving a link in the description down below, but for now, on to today's episode. You're listening to the Augmented Experience podcast. I'm your host, as usual, Joshua Velas. I'm a student, musician, and a gamer at heart. Join me as I sit down every week to talk about all the latest news in the technology, business, and video game world. I hope you guys enjoy.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the show. My name is Joshua Velas. I am your host as usual, and obviously welcome back to the show. Today's episode 204 of the show, and before we get started, I'm going to do a house clearing quick because, well, you guys don't like to do it around here, so it only makes sense if we do it. Let's just get on with the house cleaning. I do want to say thank you guys for coming back and listening. It really does mean a lot to me. You guys constantly take time in your days to download these episodes, to share these episodes, to constantly keep letting me know how you feel, whether you like my stupid opinions or not, or like seeing my stupid face. Even though we're not doing a video version today because, well, a lot of stuff has been going on. So it's better that, you know, at least for this week, no video. Even though all the technology works, it's just other stuff has happened. School has happened, guys. I'm just being honest with you. But that doesn't mean you guys will still not get an episode this week because, well, you're listening to it right now. So again, thank you guys for your love and support. I really do appreciate it because, to be honest, I can't really do this without you guys because, well, at this point, if you guys weren't downloading and sharing these episodes, then I'd just be talking to myself and talking to nobody. And that would be extremely weird and also depressing at the same time. But thank you guys so much for your love and support. I really appreciate it. Also, the Patreon backers, thank you guys for your support as well. You guys are greatly appreciated. But this week's episode really should have happened last week. But given the news of what happened with Activision and Blizzard and Microsoft, yeah, it kind of got took over. So here we go now. We're going to be talking about the 6000 series of AMD Ryzen, primarily in the laptops since the 7000 series that'll be coming in desktops, which I do want to talk about that, even though we really don't know anything about it. I will be giving my thoughts about that maybe in a later episode once we have like a little bit more concrete info, or at least a little bit more of the leaks. But what we can talk about is the 6000 series on the laptops. And for me, it's a very interesting thing because primarily we are getting an architecture bump. We're going to a Zen 3 Plus architecture from the original architecture that was in the 5000 series on laptops, which in this case is a similar what happened. The Zen 3 Plus architecture is the same one that's used in the desktop 5000 series, which, if you guys remember, when we jumped from the Ryzen 3000 series to the 5000 series, it was still the same 7nm node. The only difference was that they pumped out more performance and also gained more efficiency in the process with those processors, which I know that sounds weird saying that process out of those processors, but we essentially gained more performance and better efficiency out of the new architecture. And essentially that is what's happening here with the laptops, which people don't seem to realize this as much as people. I personally don't think people care about efficiency so much in the desktop space. I think they just care more about more raw performance, but that's just my personal opinion. I think in the laptop space, this is where it's really important because laptops, as you guys are all aware, can get pretty hot. And at the same time, when you're, how would you say, generating that much heat in that small of a chassis, especially in ultrabooks and say anything like very thin and light gaming laptops, yeah, you're kind of going to want that efficiency, homie. It comes in pretty handy with not burning your hands off and probably cooking sausages on your laptop. I'm just being real with you because that's always been the problem that people had with gaming laptops is unless you buy like the really bulky ones that obviously weigh like 10 pounds and better cooling systems, yeah, these things are going to run pretty hot and warm to the touch. And in some cases, bad thermal performance, which some people are like, hey, it kind of burned my hand a bit, you know, just saying. But with the new performance gains, there obviously comes some new features that come along with it. So some of the main features to talk about would be because of the Zen 3 Plus architecture and being able to shrink down the node size and, you know, condense everything down and still get more performance and efficiency out of it. they're able to now finally slot in Rdna 2 graphics, which if you're not aware of what Rdna 2 is, it's the same graphics architecture that's used in the current 6000 series for the Radeon graphics. Well, discrete graphics cards on the, actually dedicated computer side, or in the case of the Xbox Series X and PS5, the same graphics architecture that's being used there, which is a really big move for a lot of people when it came to AMD graphics on laptops. Just really weren't that great, if we're being honest with you guys. Vega was pretty bad. And granted, this is the I would say the onboard graphics. So the same how NVIDIA has the MX. And to be honest, I'm very happy that we're getting this. I think it's going to incredibly help, say, thin and light laptops that don't need, or primarily thin and light laptops that don't have discrete GPUs that just rely on the dedicated graphics. I think it's going to be a very big jump in performance for them. I think it's going to be very nice in terms of what the architecture changes that have been going on, especially with this whole talk of Smart Shift Eco and Smart Access graphics, when we talk about those features a little bit later. Some of the new changes coming along are going to include DDR5, which is kind of a big deal because obviously on the actual build your own PC side, that DDR5 is starting to become very popular, or in the sense it's the new technology, even though it's still hella expensive and the performance gains really aren't that much different. So maybe on the laptop side, it's a little bit different. Also, USB4 support, very useful. Another new standard coming along. I think USB4 is going to greatly help these laptops that rely on the new 6000 series of AMD processors. Better PCIe support, which I think that's great. I think better PCIe is, well, it's a good thing in the end, personally. Another good thing would be because of the new efficiency and performance gains and also the Rdna 2 graphics, the U series processors will now actually get some better performance out of this. And I think that's very beneficial. Like, I speak from the experience of somebody that owns I've made it clear, like when I talked about my favorite tech of 2021, that I own an Acer Swift X. That laptop primarily runs on a Ryzen 7 5800U, which is the Ultrabook processor, but it also has a dedicated graphics card on it, so the 3050 Ti. And for me, I personally don't game on that laptop. I know you can. It's advertised that you could do some very light gaming, even though it's primarily designed to be an Ultrabook for carrying around for work or school or things like that. And I primarily just use it for school and just work related stuff. But I don't game on it since I have my Switch, my Xbox, my computer, my Oculus, my Nintendos, my iPad, I have all this other stuff. I don't really need to game on my laptop. I'm just being honest with you guys. But to me, the better performance gains out of the U series is going to be very important, especially for Ultrabooks. Because let's be honest here, Ultrabooks are an incredibly popular laptop. They're I wouldn't say they're the most common, but I would say in college campuses, more people are inclined to use an Ultrabook rather than a gaming laptop, unless you're an engineering major, which at that point you kind of need to, because they're talking about that, yeah, you need to have a powerful laptop that can do all the rendering and CAD designing in class or things like that. Even though I still question for a lot of the EE majors and computer engineering majors, since, yeah, just being real, you're not really pushing those computers hard, man. Just being honest with you, I think the recommendations are kind of bull, because there's not a single class that uses those things to their fullest potential. I'm just being honest with you. And business majors, let's be real. A business major does not need a gaming laptop unless, obviously want to game on it. Then that's a whole different story. But Ultrabooks gaining this new performance, especially the U series, I think that's very good. I think that's a very nice thing. Also, the H series, which is the more performance. These are what's going to be inside the bigger gaming rigs. These getting a performance bump as well, because the new architecture is really nice, especially given the fact that we have Alder Lake coming out on the Intel side. And I do want to touch on that a bit, since the fact that Intel announced the Alder Lake processors for the laptops, and now AMD has the 6000 series. Keep in mind, these processors were announced early in the month at CES. And for me, this is a very beautiful thing. I think after how well Intel did with Alder Lake and the reception that has come from the Alder Lake, specifically on the on PC side, it's kind of weird saying the PC side when we're talking about laptops and it's still a PC, but it's just a laptop, so it's an all-in-one. And then, build your own PCs, you know, got the desktop side. So I think it's just better we designate it as the desktop and the laptop side. So desktop Alder Lake, with the reception that was had with that, people were very happy. People were genuinely happy with the performance they were getting from Alder Lake, and also just some of the new features that came along with it. So bringing those efficiency cores and bringing those performance cores and bringing this new, hopefully better managed thermals on the laptops, it's going to be a very interesting competition. And at the same time, AMD doing the same thing with providing better performance, better efficiency with the Zen 3 Plus architecture, and also better graphics, or specifically integrated graphics, and also coming with DDR5, USB4, better PCIe. And because of the new architecture, the U series and the H series will both gain, I'd say, a fairly good amount. I think that's a better way to say it, because I don't want to try to overestimate, since, you know, that's just the marketing jargon that companies like to use, is like, yeah, bro, this impressive, like 50-70% performance gains. I'm like, yeah, bro, look at these bar graphs, man. Bar graphs. Yeah, totally. That's what Apple likes to do with all these bar graphs. Look at this. This is our competition. This is where we are. Our competition clearly sucks, man, because our bar graph says so. Like, yeah. Until we get these things in hand, I'm excited to see how these things perform. Another thing is the whole Smart Shift Eco and Smart Access graphics. The Smart Access graphics primarily focus on swapping between the integrated graphics and dedicated graphics, and helping to manage that. And also, like, it primarily helps with saving power, because that is one of the main benefits that has been talked about with the Ryzen 6000 series, is that we could get laptops that have up to 24 hours of battery life, which for laptops is very important, because battery life is a very important thing. Because let's be real, if you're using a laptop, you obviously don't want to be carrying around your charger all the time. Like, at that point, if you're just going to be plugged in the whole time, you might as well just have a, you know, standalone tower that's just, you know, chilling in your room. To be honest, that's very important, especially given with how the MacBooks and the M1 processors have been handling battery life. They've clearly shown, hey, people want better battery life with their laptops. Now, I'm not saying the M1 is perfect, because it's not, and I've said this multiple times. It is not perfect, and it never will be perfect, and it's not for everyone. However, I will compliment it to acknowledge that, yeah, in terms of what you're getting out of it, the battery life is good. It really is. So the fact that the 6000 series could get us up to 24 hours of battery life is very impressive, and I'm excited to see how this turns out. But at the same time, it also comes along with the new updates for the, you know, I'd say dedicated graphics from Radeon, the new Radeon 6000 series, or the updated 6000 series for the laptop side. For me, there's a reason why all of this is exciting, mainly because of the fact that we're going to be getting better processors and better integrated graphics for Ultrabooks, and also the big performance graphics, or I'd say the H series CPUs, and the new performance gains with that, and also the new dedicated graphics for that'll most likely be paired with the 6000 series or 6000H processors. I think that's a better way to say it. The 6000H series processors. I'm very excited to see how this turns out, because the whole point is we want competition in the space. We don't want the laptop market to, I would say, rely on, like, say, one model or one specific laptop that everyone just buys and there's no reason to buy the other ones. Like, having competition is good. At the same time, it's interesting to see how this competition will play out with Intel's Alder Lake and now AMD 6000 series, and seeing the performance gains between each of the different architectures, seeing how maybe the same laptop but just running different CPUs. So, like, maybe one might be running, let's use it as example, the new headline CPU, which would be the Ryzen 7 6980HX, competing with, say, the top of line Alder Lake processor, and the same laptop. It's just using different CPUs. I think that's going to be very interesting. I'm very interested to see the thermal performance, and also the same thing goes with Alder Lake, seeing how the thermals perform, and also testing the battery life. I'm interested to see how the battery life turns out on these new processors, both on Intel and AMD, but we're primarily focusing on AMD because that's the point of the episode. However, at the end of the day, I know some of you are probably wondering, should I even upgrade? Should I, and here's where I'm at. Depending on where you're at with your laptop, if, say, you have a laptop that's maybe 3, 4, 5 years old, then yeah, I think upgrading makes a lot of logical sense, to be honest with you. I also do want to make this very clear, though, you also have to be mindful of the chip shortage going on, because let's be real, it's still going on. So you have to be mindful of that. You have to be mindful of the prices and prices going up, and inflation and these other factors. Same thing goes for people wanting to buy their very first laptop. Like, you have to be mindful of chip shortages. You have to be mindful that, say, some of the more popular laptops that are highly recommended are probably going to sell out quickly because of the chip shortage, because of limited stock. So you have to be mindful of these things as well. But to be honest, if you're sitting on a last gen, like say the 5000 series on your laptop, there's no reason to upgrade. I'm just being honest with you. Like, you'll be perfectly fine. Your laptop isn't going to shat the bed overnight just because a new processor came out. Let's just be real, homie. Like, for me personally, I'm excited to see how my Acer Swift X is staying with me. Like, that thing's staying with me. That's going to be still my daily use laptop that I use for everything. Is it perfect? No, but it's still perfect for my needs. However, as I mentioned before earlier in the episode, I'm very interested to talk about the 7000 series for the desktop side, since, well, for me, I'm currently using a Ryzen 9 3900X. I skipped the 5000 series. So if the performance gains are very impressive, if, say, the path to upgrading is at least semi-reasonable in terms of, paying, in terms of the good old cheddar, then yeah, I'm probably going to upgrade to the 7000 series. Or if I just want to save some money, I just might buy a 5950X, because why not? It's still a great processor. Just because, just being honest with you, just because a new generation comes out means that the old one is garbage and doesn't work anymore. Like, guys, it probably will be a reasonable option for a lot of people. I'm just being honest with you. I think buying a 5900 or a 5950X once the 7000 series is fully shown off and released is probably going to be a good value. I'm just being honest with you, because you don't really need much more than those suckers. However, at the end of the day, I'm excited for the 6000 series for the laptops. I'm excited to see how the 6000H series and the 6000U series perform, because to me, it's going to be crazy. It's going to be wild, to be honest. But let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Again, I do apologize for not doing a video version due to the fact that, well, school's kind of been rough right now, given how much, my teachers are just really weird. Like, they're kind of all over the place with how they're assigning work and the structure of their classes. Like, not a personal dig at them. There's nothing personal. It's just, it's different. That's really what it is. It's just different. So I just have to get used to the different teaching styles that I'm not accustomed to. So it's really just me getting comfortable with their new teaching styles. But I feel like once I find a proper groove and a proper flow of understanding how this thing works, then yeah, it'll be easier. But thank you guys so much for your love and support. I really do appreciate it. And as always, don't do anything dumb, guys. Please continue to be mindful and respectful of those around you, because I'm just being honest with you. The world is still a weird place, guys. It's just better to be kind and respectful towards everyone around you. You may not like everyone. You may not agree with everyone. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But you also have to be mindful and respectful that, hey, you're also sharing a planet with all these other people. So be kind, be courteous, be respectful. Don't do anything dumb. And please have yourselves a wonderful week and weekend. I know for me, it is going to be an amazing weekend because it's my birthday this week on the 28th of January. I'm very excited. My birthday falls on a Friday. And then I get to celebrate it here in town with my friends. And then on Saturday, I get to go home and celebrate with my family. It's the first time I've been able to celebrate my birthday with my family in over 4 years. Because the last time I got to celebrate my birthday with my family was my 18th birthday. So it's very exciting that this is the first time I get to have the opportunity to go home and spend time with my family for my birthday. And I hope to enjoy it. And again, thank you guys so much for your love and support. I really do appreciate it. Have yourselves a wonderful week and weekend. I know I already said that, but to me, that's what I want for you guys. Have some fun, but also be safe, be mindful, be respectful of those around you. And I will see you guys next week. Bye, guys.
Hey there. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much for taking time out of your day and listening to today's episode. If you're interested in supporting the show, whether it be financially, clicking the follow button, or just sharing the episode, it all works for me, guys. Thank you guys so much for your time, and I love you guys to death.